So this is Ali from Architects. Just here to talk about our upcoming tour in December in Australia with two great bands, House of Protection and President. It's been a little while since we've been over, so yeah, we're really stoked to get back.
Fantastic, Ali. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, mate. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, as you say, Architects returned to Australia to give fans an early Christmas present when you arrived for three shows starting December the 11th in Melbourne, then hitting to Sydney and finishing in Brisbane on December 14th. So, it's still a few months away, mate. Like, do you look that far ahead for tours, or do you sort of have so much going on you don't really worry about it till they get closer?
Yeah, we've started thinking about it. We obviously have to start planning fairly in advance of these things because yeah, there's a lot to figure out these days. But yeah, we're currently on tour in America. We're off to Canada tomorrow for a couple of shows. But yeah, it's quite a good way to work on future tours really because we're all in the same room. We're with our crew as well, so we can kind of figure out the little complications that pop up way in advance, and yeah, we can also work on the set and figure out what works and what doesn't work, and yeah, it's a good way to prepare, I suppose. And we've got UK and European headliner coming up in October as well, so we'll be gig ready by December.
Nice. Now, as you say, it's been a couple of years since you were here last, mate. So, what's changed with Architects in that time?
New records come out. Sky, the Earth, and All Between. That came out earlier this year, and we're in the early stages of touring it. So we did a headliner in March in Europe, and we did a couple of release shows in the UK. And then we're just, as I said earlier, we're on a 6 week North American tour of the record at the moment, and then yeah, off to go headline at home, which we haven't done for a long time as well. And then yeah, wrapping up the year in Australia. So it's been a lot of touring for us. We don't get out half as much as we used to, but we've been blessed with some really great tours so far. So we're very much looking forward to getting over to Australia and seeing how the album's gone down over there.
Nice. Now, speaking of the album, mate, you mentioned it. It's called The Sky, the Earth, and All in Between, which came out earlier this year. So, how was the reception for it? Did you get the response you were hoping for?
Yeah, I think it's gone down great. We like a lot of bands, we look so much into the online data for how your music's performing, and we're always very happy to see that our top songs on Spotify are always songs from the new record. So it feels like it's going down well online, and we're going out and playing these shows, and people already really know the songs. So yeah, it feels like a big one, and we're having a lot of fun playing these tracks. It's always fun getting out and playing new record, but it feels really like people are engaging with the songs. So yeah, it's cool.
Nice. And you mentioned you've had a chance to play a few of them live. So, are there any songs that have gone down better than expected live, or any that maybe didn't go down quite as well as you thought they would?
No, I mean we're playing. I mean it's like five songs from the new record, and four of them. No, they've all been. No, four of them have been singles. Um, so people have had quite a good amount of time to get familiar with them. But they all have their own moments in the set, which is really cool. Like they like crowd interact with them in different ways. So that's been a lot of fun to figure out kind of the best ways of playing them. Um, and yeah, we spent quite a lot of time working with our crew on like making sure they sound as good as possible, and like the parts are played like because there's so many layers to our songs now. We really take a lot of time to figure out the best way to perform them. And we've got a couple of extra guys on stage who are helping out with some additional performance parts. So it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. Now, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between was your 11th studio album, mate. So, as a musician, do you find it easier or harder to come up with fresh sounding material the more you write?
Uh I think when you're this far in and you've made this many records, you tend to just you get a good sense of what your band's sound is because we don't really look around us for inspiration. We kind of know what it is we want to do, and I think you can only really get to that point after making a lot of music. You start to trust your gut a lot more. You you can draw on influences in different ways. Like I think whenever you start a band, like you kind of pull your potential bandmates together and you go, cool, we all want it to sound like this. And then many years pass and you kind of start refining other bands' sounds into your own. And it takes a long time to do that. But I think the thing that we experience most after all this time is just the confidence in what we're doing. And we know when stuff is right and we know when stuff isn't good enough. And we've also kind of got we know when to say no to things, and we know it's all about trusting the gut, right? And we're never going to put out stuff that we're not happy with. Like we've definitely done that before, and we've kind of released music maybe when in the back of our minds we're thinking it's not quite there yet, but we now have that skill and that trust in ourselves to know when it's good enough, you know?
Oh, and like you've got your core sound now, like as you mentioned, but Architects have never been afraid to experiment a little bit from album to album. So along those lines, how much musical growth do you think you've got left in you?
Uh, I I mean, we're always trying to push ourselves, and I think as soon as like for a metalcore band with two guitars, bass, drums, as soon as you start adding electronic elements to it, the kind of musical world is your oyster
Yeah.
because you there's just so many things you can try, and we've done records where we experiment a lot with like orchestral sounds, and that might be something we revisit again. But we just try and do what's exciting for ourselves, really. That's where it all starts, and I think we all listen to such different types of music now, and that's always going to influence what we're doing, and we try and bring that to the architect sound, if you like. But yeah, as well, like the way musical technology works these days, you can experiment so easily. So there's really no excuse to not just try new things all the time and just see what excites you.
Yeah, cool. Before the album came out, mate, you toured with Metallica for 2 years, so it goes without saying. I know that that would have been a great experience, but what sorts of things do you learn about yourselves and about the band on a lengthy tour like that with legends of music like Metallica?
Yeah, so it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was 2 years of touring. We did 2 summers worth of shows with them, and
Okay.
they were off doing other things as well. So like it was, yeah, wasn't a tour so to speak, but it really the shows in themselves really took us out of our comfort zone because playing in the middle of a stadium is was something completely new to us. And also just playing to like a very super dedicated fan base in Metallica fans. Like they're kind of like no music fans that we've played to really before because they're very like you can sense that when you're on stage they want to see Metallica, and like we obviously
What does the
completely
grime
get that.
stuff?
So yeah, it was a bit of a case of winning crowds over from show to show. Some shows were kind of crowds were definitely a lot more receptive than others, but we just had the best time doing it. Like we were so well looked after by the band and their crew, and yeah, we've been a band for a long time, and like at some point you stop getting so phased by things. But when we got an offer to play in Metallica, it's like, oh my god, like what? How has this happened? Um, but yeah, super fun shows. Would absolutely love to do it again. And yeah, it was unforgettable experience. Like if you're in a metal band, you're almost definitely going to have grown up listening to those guys. So it's crazy moment for us.
Yes, yeah. And you mentioned earlier that you're bringing House of Protection and President with you. So tell us a bit more about them and why you chose them to bring all the way over to Australia.
So House of Protection are some good friends of ours, and they feature on track on the new record on a song called Brain Dead. They're an awesome band as well. Like as soon as we started hearing the material they were working on, and when the first releases came out, we're like, we have to take these guys out. Like they're very much doing something that I mean, at least at our ears, is like super fresh, and like they're such an exciting live band. So we can't wait to start playing shows with them. They're also doing our UK and European tour in October. And then President are just a band that are super exciting right now. Like they've obviously come along and released like a couple of tracks, and they've absolutely like blown up the internet. So yeah, cool to be at the start of that band's journey with them, and I think it's gonna be really fun having them on the shows.
I noticed all three shows are all ages ones too, which is great. But as a band, do you have any say in something like that, or is it just something the promoters do?
Um, you can have say in it if you want. Like, I think generally speaking, we try and make our shows all ages. It's not like a super strict policy or anything. Funnily enough, like at least I've noticed, like never before on this particular tour we're doing in America right now, there are a lot of kids here, which is awesome, and they're in the front row with their massive ear protectors on. But that's the best time. It shocks you a little bit because it's like, holy shit, I didn't think our music kind of reached such young people.
Yeah.
Um, and if they're into our band, that's like we're very grateful for that because if our band can have the same kind of inspiration for a young musician like we experienced growing up, then that's a whole different level for the band for us. So that's it's cool to see. So yeah, we really love seeing that.
Fantastic. Now, I know we can't see you at the moment, mate, but can you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool, because I've got a little segment for you. I've started doing a segment called Photo Bomb. So basically, before we've had a chat, I've trolled through your social media and I found a few photos that I want to talk to you a bit more about.
Go on
So
then.
I've found this one here. Like, is that trick photography or editing, or was the drum kit at the opposite end of the room to the stage?
It's, that's just some editing. But yeah, I've never looked at that slide in that particular way, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But no, that is just a compilation of shots. That
All
would be
right.
a very cool production idea, like to have
It would
Dan
be,
pop up
yeah.
for about. Yeah, might have to nick that idea from you at some point.
I was looking at the crowd and like half the people looking one way and half the other way. It's like it's divided the crowd where to look. It'd be a great little idea.
Yeah, that's a weird like trick of the eye, but yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, cool. And the other one I found was, does this happen very often, mate? Like where someone crowd surfs all the way to the stage?
That is from a very long time ago. That yeah, we haven't played a show. We did a couple of shows like this earlier in the year, but I think our fan base is like a little bit older as well as much as younger in what I was just saying about the youngsters come to the shows. People don't want to do this so much at our shows anymore. They're in their late 30s. They've got bad backs. They're not playing around with this stuff anymore. But we definitely get some good crowd surfing, but not they're not making it to the stage anymore.
And do you remember what that was in his hand? It looks like a teddy bear, but I can't quite see.
Yeah, I God, this photo looks like it was from like 2012, 2013 or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
but some kind of teddy bear. I don't know if that remains with us on tour or not, but
Awesome.
yeah, it's a great photo.
Yeah, all right, bro. Well, thanks for your time, mate. Thanks for hanging around and waiting for us. And Architects are in Australia starting the 11th of December in Melbourne. They are a fantastic band live, so get yourself a ticket if you haven't got one already.
Nice one. All right, Chris, lovely talking to you, mate.